Now I'm going back in with the salicylic acid, and then maybe you don't have this or you would just have alcohol. I don't recommend acetone unless that's your thing, but salicylic is great because it's a BHA. It is attracted to oil, so it'll go into the follicle, travel into the follicle, dissolve the oil, and then allow us to, when we put the glycolic on, it'll just penetrate much more quickly using less acid. So just a little bit, maybe 7 drops, and I'm just going to kind of press it into the skin, not really rubbing. Sometimes we rub, but in this case, because her skin was acting just a little, I'm just paying attention, looking a little off, I'm just pressing it in instead of rubbing it in because the skin has already been treated. She's been using retinol. So the technique is always important because, you know, when you're dabbing, it's not as aggressive as rubbing. And you want to always just keep the customer and client really comfortable as possible because already peels are not very comfy to the skin, and you just want them to, you know, enjoy the process as much as possible. Doing great. We're getting a little bit of congestion coming right up now. I want to make sure we get the hairline really well so we don't get any demarcation. Making sure we get all oil and debris. And you can see there was just still a little bit of stuff. And that little bit of stuff can cause a terrible peel reaction, meaning that the acid could either be neutralized with too much debris or oil in the hairline, or it can cause too much penetration. Now we're using a little ramekin. Now we're going in with our fruit acid gel. And this is great because it's a mixture of acids. And I'm just using a brush. And because it's a gel, it's a little more friendly to the skin instead of just pure liquid glycolic. And it takes a little more time to absorb because it's a gel. So I'm using this over pure glycolic because I want to catch anything just in case. Whereas a pure glycolic liquid will just absorb almost instantly. And I don't want that. I want to control the acid. You always are trying to control the acid depth and penetration. Just getting it all into the brush like this and then making sure there's no drippage. And then cold, 1, 2, 3. I always warn them before I put anything on, and I always ask them to tell me as soon as they feel any type of reaction. So cold, 1, 2, 3, and I just put a little bit on. And tell me as soon as you feel anything happening, any type of activity.
I feel a little, definitely some spiciness.
Okay, so instantly almost. So that means we just need to do this pretty quickly. And putting more of it in the outer perimeter, obviously watching for drippage, but there usually isn't because I don't have too much in the brush. So it's just the essence of the acid being put onto the skin. I save and wait for the center part of the face to the end, and I'm being mindful of the chin because it's sensitive from her mask, I can already tell. 0 to 10, what do you feel?
Maybe a 2.
Maybe a 2, perfect. And we're timing for 7 minutes, but it doesn't mean that we're going to leave it on for 7 minutes because it could penetrate too deeply and cause a reaction. So now I'm going to go a little bit in the center, just a dash, a little bit on the nose, just very little. The center of the face doesn't need much exfoliation usually, and especially with all of the prep. 0 to 10?
I'd still say around 2.
Okay, do you need a little fan?
No, I don't feel like that.
Okay. And so what we're watching for is some erythema, which is the redness occurs. Obviously we're looking and paying attention for any type of, you know, edema or heat spots. I'm noticing a little bit more erythema through here, so I'm paying attention. And through here I'm paying attention. The erythema is raising to about a 2. We do it up to a 6 on certain peels, but in this case for her, we are going to try to keep the erythema at about a 3. Thank you. Whatever's left on the brush, we're just brushing right underneath the eye like that. Good, and close. 0 to 10.
Maybe like a 2 point, maybe 3.
Okay. So it's, the acidity is bringing the pimples right up right now.
Nice.
I just love it. And whatever's left in here. So the forehead's getting pretty red. Continuing to just brush it on, layer it on, making sure that the acid is evenly applied to the skin. So we don't want... How are you feeling, 0 to 10?
Like a strong 3.
Strong 3?
Maybe almost 4.
Good, and we're almost done. Continuing to just rub it into the skin. We never just put it on and just let it sit. We continue to kind of move it onto the skin like this so it gets evenly pushed into the skin. And that also makes us pay attention to every moment. Okay. We always remove near the eye area first and center of the face. Cold. And we're just kind of dabbing. We're not trying to rub. Glycolic can be pretty irritating near the eye. And then we're going to take off just gently. And the pH will start to raise, and that's that sensation they feel. So this is just water on these 4x4s, but now I'm going to use some Neutralizer, which is in this container, and spray. So I'm going to spray you real quick. Cold mist, and then I spray it into the 4x4s like this, a good amount. This bottle is amazing because it's really quick. And again, I'm going to go right over the eye, on the chin, the lip, and then I'm just pressing that sodium bicarbonate in water into the skin, making sure that the acid is completely neutralized. If you miss this part, you're in danger because the acid will not turn off until you turn it off. Glycolic acid can be very dangerous if you do not neutralize it. So I'm going to just neutralize straight onto the skin. Good, a little bit more on the whole face. Good. Right there, I just really want to make sure it's neutralized, even more on here. When in doubt, neutralize. Neutralize more, neutralize again. Just turn the acid completely off. 0 to 10?
Like a 1?
A 1?
Yeah.
Good.
I still feel like little activity, but
Nothing crazy?
you're right.
Okay, good. So if you look at the skin, what we are looking at is definitely a erythema of about 3. It could have been, I feel like, left on a dash longer, but I just am instinctively feeling like she's complete because it is raising the little bit of congestion on the forehead and down here. So now I'm going to hydrate her. That was the end of the glycolic. So we're going to use the Extreme Hydration Repair Mask. And I'm going to actually use a little bit more this time just to really nourish that skin and soothe it. If you notice, I'm not using hot towels, hot water, or anything because that can cause a lot of sensitivity on a client when you're doing acids and peels. I'm going to use a brush this time. It's preferred because it'll feel very soothing to the client versus just with the fingers. A brush after the main glycolic acid is always nice because it just feels better for the client. Warning them that it's going to be cold, 1, 2, 3. People don't like to be surprised. So just warn them and tell them what you're doing before you do it, especially because you don't want them to flinch. If they flinch during the peel process, it can cause issues with the acid getting near their eye or just all kinds of stuff. It's always best to just warn people what's happening. Getting right under the eye since we treated that job. Thank you. A little bit on the eyelid. Gently massage. When you massage after the peel, you need to be careful because the skin is just sensitive, and the rubbing and the friction can cause an unpredictable outcome in the peel process 7 days later and just cause too much sensitivity. So it's just about being a little bit more gentle with your fingers after you've applied the main acid to like let this kind of soak in for a little bit right now, and then she'll put on some sunscreen in a few minutes. She's got some redness, erythema, a little bit of the pimple is still kind of raised or inflamed. That will go down within the next probably 5 to 10 minutes, and she'll start to get that glow pretty quickly. She may get a dash of purging through this area, and the next couple of days that's normal. Usually it comes right up and then goes down, so it's nothing to be concerned with. Her instructions would be to keep her skin extremely gentle for the week, treating it very gently with a gentle cleanser, gentle moisturizer, and sunscreen, nothing exfoliating, nothing acidic, for about a week. How does everything feel?
Great.
Awesome, you did so good. Good job.
Thank you.